Now on Good Morning America First Look, breaking overnight. New details as the U.S. and Iran reach a deal. Oil prices dropping after the president claims the Strait of Hormuz will reopen this week. What it says about Iran's nuclear program and when it's set to be signed. Also breaking overnight.
The Carolina Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup.
After 20 years of agonizing waiting, the Cup is coming home to Raleigh. A knockout at the White House. The president ringing in his 80th birthday with a historic sports spectacle. Plus, dangerous weather battering the Northeast. More than 10,000 flights delayed as suffocating heat bakes the West. A dozen people are dead after a skydiving plane crashes in Missouri. What witnesses are now saying. The city that never sleeps meets the party that refuses to end. Knicks fans flooding the streets after a 53-year wait, but not all the celebrations stayed peaceful. And with the World Cup now underway, see how everyone, even animals, are getting in on the fun.
From ABC News, this is Good Morning America First Look.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sophie Flay. And I'm Hannah Patel. We begin with a major step toward ending the war with Iran. President Trump is touting a deal with Iran that's expected to be signed this week, setting the stage for further talks on Iran's nuclear program. The agreement paves the way for the reopening of the critical Strait of Hormuz. ABC's Karen Hua has more. Karen, good morning.
Good morning, Sophie. The plan is already having an immediate ripple effect on the global economy and gas prices. But this morning, major questions remain about just how complete this Iran deal really is. This morning, after weeks of uncertainty, President Trump says a deal with Iran has been reached. Trump saying that he ordered the immediate removal of the United States naval blockade on Iranian ports. He says the strait will reopen entirely and toll-free after the deal is signed later this week, saying, "Ships of the world, start your engines. Let the oil flow." Iranian officials confirming the deal, which is set to be signed in Switzerland on Friday. Vice President J.D. Vance is expected to attend. He says the deal ensures Iran will never have a nuclear weapon.
I'm not going to say that everybody's going to sing Kumbaya tomorrow. It's going to take a little bit of time to learn the ways of peace.
But the fate of Iran's nuclear program, a major red line for both parties, appears to still be unresolved. Officials say the deal would include a 60-day ceasefire during which there would be further nuclear negotiations. But the president telling the New York Times that should those talks fail, he would restart strikes on Iran or make the U.S., quote, the guardian of the Middle East in return for 20% of the region's revenues.
The president has every intent for it to happen. The Iranians are incredibly difficult negotiators.
Israel, not a party to this plan, struck Iran-backed Hezbollah targets in Beirut Sunday, nearly derailing negotiations. At least 3 people were killed, 6 others injured. Former Israeli senior military intelligence officer Avner Valan telling us that he is doubtful Prime Minister Netanyahu would support the deal.
We've known the Iranians for many years. You don't really believe that the fact that they promised or they signed something is worth anything.
News of the deal sending Brent crude down more than $3 a barrel. The national gas average is now $3.99 a gallon, below $4 for the first time since April. Relief could soon extend far past the pump, with high oil prices having pushed up the cost of groceries, shipping, and everyday goods. The U.S. burned through much of its emergency oil stockpile, trying to keep prices down during the war. Now on track for its lowest level since 1983, leaving little cushion left if this deal falls apart. Overnight, Israel's defense minister said that Israel would not withdraw from any territory it has seized, saying Israel is not subordinate to the United States. Sophie?
Karen, thank you. Next, breaking overnight, the Carolina Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup. The Canes finishing off the Golden Knights last night in Las Vegas with a 3-0 win, sparking wild scenes of celebration on the ice and back home. It was the first playoff shutdown for Carolina goalie Brandon Bussey, who says winning the cup is a dream come true.
I love what I do for a living. I do it for moments like this. You know, it's special. You never know if it's going to happen. You just work hard and put your head down, and good things will happen.
It's the Canes' second Stanley Cup triumph in franchise history. The first was 20 years ago. The Canes' 37-year-old captain, Jordan Staal, was named playoff MVP. A historic night at the White House as the South Lawn transforms into an arena for UFC Freedom 250, a first-of-its-kind sporting event that unfolded on the president's 80th birthday. ABC's Alison Kosik has the details.
Sunday was fight night on the South Lawn of the White House.
From the South Lawn of the White House, UFC Freedom 250.
To start the event, President Trump and UFC chief Dana White walked from the Oval Office to the balcony to survey the Octagon, standing for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see?
While fighter jets roared overhead. The president and first lady sat ringside, the matches happening inside an arena built just for the event, including a custom-built octagon under a massive overhead structure called the Claw. 14 athletes competed in 7 fights.
Got to thank President Trump for making this happen.
It's the first professional sporting event ever held on White House grounds. 4,000 people packed the massive arena, while thousands more watched from the ellipse outside the White House gates. The event drawing backlash.
I just can't believe that we're at the White House watching UFC fights.
Trump has had a long friendship with Dana White and owns stock in UFC's parent company. A federal lawsuit tried to stop the event from happening, calling it deeply corrupt, arguing it was a for-profit sporting event designed to benefit Trump and his allies. But a federal judge rejected that request. The UFC insists it footed the bill, which topped $60 million, as taxpayers paid the bill for Super Bowl-level security run by the Secret Service. During an interview in May, President Trump claimed that the proceeds from the UFC match would go to soldiers. Hannah, Sophie?
Alison, thank you. Senator Mitch McConnell has been hospitalized, but his office is not revealing why. A spokesman would only say that McConnell is receiving excellent care. The former Senate Majority Leader is 84 years old and set to retire in January. He's had a series of medical issues in recent years, including several falls in which he suffered broken bones and a concussion. And police in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, say human error appears to be the cause of a deadly collision between 2 helicopters. 6 people were killed. The choppers came down in a car dealership parking lot. 20 vehicles burned. 32-year-old American singer and comedian Oliver Tree is among the victims. He has more than 15 million followers on TikTok and was in Brazil as part of a world tour. A coast-to-coast weather threat this morning. Severe storms in the northeast with nearly 70-mile-an-hour winds, delaying thousands of flights as the west coast swelters under record heat.
Overnight, heavy rainfall triggered widespread flooding across central Texas. Numerous people had to be rescued from their cars. Elsewhere, powerful storms pummeled parts of the Midwest over the weekend. Heavy rain coming down in Omaha, Nebraska, while parts of Kansas saw hail the size of golf balls. Winds up to 70 miles per hour lashing northeast Ohio, strong enough to topple this historic Ferris wheel, which stood for 70 years.
I mean, we're used to the high winds, obviously, but never to this extreme.
The storm's also wreaking havoc on air travel. More than 10,000 flights delayed and over 1,000 canceled Sunday. Meanwhile, in the West, forecasters are warning of, quote, lethal temperatures that could reach as high as 110 degrees in parts of Northern California. The extreme heat stretching to Oregon and Washington. The National Weather Service says temperatures will stay elevated overnight, offering little relief. And the heat isn't the only concern. Officials are also warning beachgoers along the California coast about dangerous ocean conditions, including rip currents and so-called sneaker waves, powerful waves that can suddenly surge farther up the beach than expected.
Experts say sneaker waves can strike without warning, often after 10 to 20 minutes of calm, gentle surf. A 68-year-old woman in Minnesota is lucky to be alive after being rescued from mud she was stuck in for 3 days. She was found by 2 men who were riding ATVs on a trail for the first time ever earlier this month. They came across her vehicle and saw her nearly completely submerged in mud that was described as being like quicksand. They pulled her out, and she is expected to make a full recovery. Time now for your morning weather.
Good Monday morning. We have dangerous heat unfolding across parts of the West, California's Central Valley included. Heat advisories from Bakersfield all the way up to Fresno. Temperatures around 100 today and tomorrow. How about Chico to Redding, up to 110 degrees, and that dangerous heat wave spreading into the Pacific Northwest as well. Medford all the way up to Seattle, especially near Portland. Extreme heat warnings in effect there, 95 to 100. We're also watching the possibility of flooding rain over parts of the South. Meteorologist Jeff Smith, ABC News.
Coming up, the party continues in the Big Apple after the Knicks' historic win.
But first, a fighter jet crashes in the Washington Mountains, sparking a wildfire. The latest on the pilot.
And an explosion outside the home of a Chicago alderman as his children slept inside. Back now with video from outside the home of a city lawmaker in Chicago. Police are looking for the person seen lighting some sort of explosive Saturday night. This explosion shattering a window. The officials' 3 children were inside the home at the time, but no injuries were reported.
Now, with the horrific death of a bungee jumper in Brazil, the video is disturbing. A 21-year-old woman plunged 130 feet to her death after workers at a bungee company hurled her off a bridge without attaching the cord to her harness. At least 3 men have been arrested, and police say the investigation could lead to murder charges.
A Marine Corps pilot is safe after ejecting from a fighter jet over Washington state. The plane going down over the weekend near Rimrock Lake, southeast of Seattle. The crash during a routine training mission sparked a small wildfire that was brought under control. The pilot suffered minor injuries and was hospitalized. No word yet on a cause of that crash.
A dozen people were killed in a skydiving plane crash in Missouri. Authorities say the crash happened just after takeoff, the plane making it only 100 feet into the air. And an official says the pilot may have been trying to make an emergency landing when the plane stalled and crashed.
This morning, NTSB investigators are set to arrive at the scene of a skydiving plane crash that killed 12 people.
The plane took off, and then at that point, it went down. We're not sure exactly anything beyond that.
The plane took off around 11:30 Sunday morning from Butler Memorial Airport, about an hour south of Kansas City. A manager at the airport says the plane had just taken off when it began a turn and then nosedived into the ground about 300 yards from the runway. He says the small skydiving plane was carrying 9 experienced skydivers, 2 tandem jumpers, and a pilot. A man who wants to remain anonymous says his son was on the plane.
I mean, everything was going good for him. Just don't understand what happened. He's probably got 400 or 500 jumps, and he's just something he'd love to do, and just never start the morning thinking you're gonna die. You know, had 2 new baby boys. It's tough.
It remains unclear what caused the plane to crash. The company operating the flight, Skydive Kansas City, says it's cooperating with local and federal authorities and said in a statement, "Our deepest sympathies are with the families, friends, and loved ones of all who were lost."
But we want to comfort the families, we want to give them the support that they need, and we also want to find out exactly what happened.
Officials said it could take months or even years to investigate the cause of the incident, but say there is no evidence of criminal activity.
Coming up, World Cup fever, how even animals are getting in on the fun.
But first, the party is still going in New York after the Knicks' first championship in more than half a century. Back now with Iran's soccer team arriving in the U.S. for its World Cup match today against New Zealand in Los Angeles. The team's preparations have been hampered by U.S. visa problems. They were greeted by protesters claiming the team doesn't represent Iran's people. For the team's safety, police have surrounded their hotel with barricades and barbed wire. After today's game, it's back to their training base in Mexico.
Well, a city that never sleeps really lived up to its name after the Knicks finally brought the Larry O'Brien Trophy to New York after a wait of more than half a century.
This morning, the New York Knicks are keeping the party going after winning their first title in 53 years. Fans greeting the champs at the airport after their plane was met with a water cannon salute at Westchester County Airport. Some of the players going straight from the airport to the Puerto Rican Day Parade, which took place, fittingly, on Knickerbocker Avenue. But the parade Knicks fans have been waiting decades for has been set for Thursday. New York's Mayor Zohran Mamdani announcing that a ticker tape parade will be held in the team's honor. It comes after a joyous and chaotic night as the streets of the Big Apple flooded with fans after the final buzzer Saturday night. Some streets impassable as fans young and old celebrated late into the night. Even the fire department joining in on the fun. Fans dancing on top of cities' buses, which got cheers of their own. One fan celebrating by balancing a large television on his head. But in some places, the celebration's turning chaotic. 5 school buses being used for the World Cup destroyed, including this one set on fire. Police say 4 people were either stabbed or slashed, and a 17-year-old shot in the foot near Times Square. 10 officers were also injured, and by the end of the night, 63 people had been arrested.
Security, of course, expected to be tight for the parade, with the commissioner of the NYPD saying the event will place significant demands on police. Coming up, a stray cat crashes a Romeo and Juliet performance, and it's perfectly adorable.
Plus, time waits for no one, even toys. We hear from Toy Story's Woody himself on getting older. Time to check the pulse. We begin with some of the fun going on around the World Cup.
First up, Boston, where a police officer was showing off his skills keeping the ball in the air before being surrounded by celebrating Scotland fans, many of them, of course, wearing kilts.
And the animals at the Chicago Zoo also proving they can kick it. The soccer party rolls on today with matches in Atlanta, Seattle, Miami, and LA. A catastrophic finale at the ballet in Turkey.
Enter stage left. An actual kitty cat stealing the show during the final scene of Romeo and Juliet. As a heartbroken Juliet agonizes over her lost love, the cat decides, hey, I'm gonna claw at your hair. The audience seems to enjoy the cat's cameo, and Romeo and Juliet stayed in character like pros. Next, fans of the Toy Story movies are counting down the days until Toy Story 5 hits theaters.
A main storyline is how the toys deal with a new electronic device. It's been more than 30 years since the first Toy Story film back in 1995, a point ABC's George Stephanopoulos talked to Tom Hanks about.
Well, Woody and Buzz have aged appropriately. we have the bald spot on Woody, but you don't like to call it a bald spot.
I would call it a cradle cap, but if the hat goes on, the hat goes off, the hat goes on.
Toy Story 5, our parent company Disney, is in theaters Friday. The FBI is going all out in its battle against hackers.
The Bureau actually built a fake town that's being used to train law enforcement by simulating real-world cyber attacks. The 22,000 square foot replica town in Alabama has homes, a hotel, a courthouse, and 200 servers reflecting corporate environments.
Checking more top stories, the U.S. and Iran have agreed to a deal that they plan to sign on Friday. President Trump says the Strait of Hormuz will reopen and the U.S. naval blockade will be lifted. Officials say the deal calls for a 60-day ceasefire and further nuclear negotiations.
Nara Organics is out with a nationwide recall of its baby formula. The FDA says it was linked to 3 cases of botulism in babies. Those cases were in California, Pennsylvania, and Washington. The formula is sold at Target and online. Families are urged to stop using it immediately.
Russia unleashed a barrage of missiles and drones on Ukraine overnight, killing 10 people in Kyiv and Kharkiv and injuring dozens of others. The strikes on the capital set fires to apartment buildings, a supermarket, and a centuries-old complex of monasteries and churches.
Today's weather, rain across the south. The heaviest will be from Texas to the Mississippi Valley, and heat alerts are going in place along the West Coast.
And finally, it's not the World Cup without the fans.
Danny New with a look at what they're doing.
I guess Boston would not have needed Paul Revere if the Scottish were coming. Bagpipes rang out all around Beantown over the weekend as the Tartan Army became one of many international fan bases to take over the World Cup's opening weekend in North America. When the Scottish sang their pre-match anthem Saturday night, Scotland's The Herald reports it was the loudest noise ever recorded in World Cup history at 125 decibels. I asked reporter Connor Ryan about it, who took this video.
I've never seen anything as loud as when they sang that anthem together. It was unreal.
Did it hurt?
Your ears were kind of ringing afterward.
Meanwhile, across the country, we also saw varying levels of international diplomacy. From the Dutch throwing a Japanese fan in the air while he holds on to Pikachu, to some occasional taunting as the Australians greeted Turkish fans with a barrage of oys. However, one cultural exchange that picked up millions of views online was this Japanese man's documentation of his first ever experience at a Mexican restaurant in Texas. He said, quote, "Chips, salsa, unrequested, free. I stopped the waiter. We have not earned these." The waiter says, "They just come with the table, man." He went on to end the post by saying, quote, "The trust of a nation is in that salsa, and I intend to honor all of it." In fact, speaking of courtesy, Japanese fans were even seen staying late after their match against the Netherlands on Sunday as they walked around to clean trash from Dallas Stadium seats.
We're kind of honored to be here, so we don't want to make the mess and then leave it.
Meanwhile, guys, here in New York, Brazilian fans completely took over Times Square Friday night before Knicks fans completely took it over Saturday night and into Sunday morning.
A lot to celebrate. Danny, thanks. That's your GMA First Look. Have a great day.